Chapter number 14, I say study material questions. Test your understanding question number 1. CA Harshit is conducting statutory audit of a branch of a public sector bank. On examining 20 large advances of the branch, he finds that in 5 examined cases, loan applications have been filled up scantily with important details left out. In these cases, it is also noticed that cash credit limits to the borrowers were enhanced during the year, but there are no records pertaining to assessment of enhanced working capital requirements in respect to borrower files. The branch is unable to show such assessments or workings in system either. However, all the 5 accounts are operating satisfactorily. These accounts have been classified as standard assets by the branches. Would above information prompt auditor to suggest change in asset classification of above accounts? What does depicted situation reflect? An account becomes NPA when it ceases to generate income for bank. In the given situation, all the examined 5 accounts are operating satisfactorily. There is no reason for suggesting changes in their classification. The matter of scantily filling up loan applications and lack for record for assessment of enhanced working capital requirements shows that internal controls over advances in branch is not proper. The above said situation shows deficiencies in credit appraisal at branch level. Such deficiencies need to be highlighted by auditor in LFAR long form audit report. Next, test your understanding 2. You are conducting concurrent audit of a branch of a public sector bank. It is a large branch having advances of about 500 crores, including export advance of 300 crores. Some borrowers also get LCs issued from branch for importing raw diamonds from diamond hubs of Belgium. You want to be sure that there is no revenue leakage in the branch. For the time being, you are focusing upon advances. Discuss any 5 areas pertaining to advance of the branch which you would verify to ensure no revenue leakage. The areas of advances which need to be verified are as under: interest rates paid in the system need to be verified with respect to corresponding sanction letters. It would help ensure that correct rate of interest is fed into the system and interest is applied properly at stipulated intervals on advances. Processing fees in respect of freshly sanctioned advances and renewal limits need to be levied in accordance with the bank guidelines, and these need to be verified. Any revision in processing fees from time to time has to be given effect in accordance with circulars or manual of the bank. Sanction of cash credit limits is generally accompanied with stipulation to submit stock statements. Non submission of stock statements can involve levying a penalty. Verification of this aspect is required. Verification of overdue interest on export bills purchased and packing credit facilities for overdue period. Verification of charges or commission in respect of a letter of credit issued in accordance with the bank circular or manual. Next, test your understanding 3. Test your understanding 3. CS Seema is appointed as stock auditor of Bhavani Rice Mills Private Limited, availing credit facilities from RK Puram branch near Tamil Education Society, New Delhi. The borrower is enjoying cash credit limit of 12 crores from the branch against security of paid stocks and debtors up to 90 days against margin of 25%. She proceeds to visit premises of Bhavani Rice Mills Private Limited, located on outskirts of Delhi. She verifies books of accounts and stock records of the company and also test checks quantity of paddy and rice of 20,000 quintals and 8,000 bags lying in premises of the company. Drawing power of 12.05 crores is computed in stock audit report and report stands submitted to bank. After about a week, a regular internal inspector appointed by inspection department of the bank also happened to visit premises of the borrower and found that rice contained in about 5,000 bags, included in stock having approximate value of 1.5 crores, was fungus ridden. The company was holding this stock for last 15 months. How do you view the above situation? Discuss. The above situation reflects that professional work of stock auditor was not performed diligently by stock auditor. It is one of the most important responsibilities of a stock auditor to verify conditions of the stock. The auditor's role is not limited to verify physical quantities only. In the given case, she should have got opened rice bags on test check basis. In the process, she could have come to know known about fungus ridden condition of the rice. Value of such rice should have been excluded while arriving at value of stocks for the purpose of computational drawing power. It shows that she has failed to perform her work diligently and drawing power calculated in the report submitted to the bank is not proper. Next, integrated case scenario. CA Madhusudan is conducting concurrent audit of a branch of a nationalized bank. It is a large branch having deposits of 350 crores and advance of 600 crores respectively. The deposits of the branch consists of term deposits apart from CASA deposits. It is an old branch in operation since late 70s, since late 70s. Therefore, there are many dormant deposit savings, current and term deposits accounts at the branch. Of late, the top management of the bank has been pushing for aggressive targets in opening of CASA deposits. He wants to ensure that CASA deposits accounts opened by the branch during his term comply with KYC norms. During the course of concurrent audit of a particular month, he finds that temporary over limits are granted to few borrowers availing cash credit facilities up to 10% of their respective sanctioned limits. Granting of such over limits fall within the powers of chief manager of the said branch. It is also noticed by him that temporary overdrafts are allowed to few customers in their current accounts. However, granting of these temporary overdrafts also falls in chief manager's delegated powers. Temporary over limits and overdrafts are, as discussed above, have been adjusted and paid before the end of the month. It is further noticed by him during the same month that the branch has sanctioned five fresh advances falling within chairman's chief manager's power and conforming to bank norms aggregating to 10 crores. All these sanctioned advances pertain to same industry, that is jute mills manufacturing jute sacks. He feels that branch's approach is not proper and sanction of five advances to the same industry lacks diversity and lending decision of a branch is not proper. He further notices that during the month, one borrower of the branch falling under the definition of small enterprise in MSME sector has shifted its credit facilities from the branch to a bank in private sector. The branch has levied foreclosure charges on outstanding credit facilities pertaining to the borrower by disregarding code of bank's commitment to micro and small enterprises. The borrower is still having current account with branch. Reversal of such charges would lead to revenue loss for the branch. He is in a fix as far as reporting is concerned. Keeping in view above, answer the following questions. As regards dormant deposit accounts in the branch, which of the following is not part of duty of concurrent auditor? First option, verifying that dormant accounts are revived with appropriate authority. It is the duty of the concurrent auditor only. Second, examining authorization for withdrawals. It is the duty of concurrent auditor only. Following up with account holders to ensure status of accounts remains active. It is not the duty of concurrent auditor. Verifying that dormant accounts at the branches aging more than 10 years have been transferred to Deposit Education and Awareness Fund, DEF. It is the duty of concurrent auditor. So what is not the duty of concurrent auditor? Option number C, following up with account holders to ensure status of accounts remains active. Next, the concurrent auditor wants to ensure that fresh CASA accounts open in the branch are KYC compliant. Which of the following best sums up scope of KYC guidelines prescribed by RBI? Option number A. The basic purpose of such guidelines is to weed out duplicate customers at the same branch. Second, such guidelines contain detailed requirements for the banks to enable them to draw a 360 degrees credit profile of the customers by monitoring of transactions. Its primary purpose is assisting banks in making prudent credit decisions. Next, such guidelines have a basic objective of ensuring credit of direct benefit transfers in accounts of deserving account holders. Such guidelines contain detailed requirements in respect of customer acceptance policy, customer identification procedures, monitoring of transactions, and risk management. Option D is correct. That is, such guidelines contain detailed requirements in respect of customer acceptance policy, customer identification procedures, monitoring of transactions, and risk management. Next, which of the following statements is most appropriate as regards reporting of matters relating to temporary over limits in cash credit accounts and temporary overdrafts in the current accounts? The said instances cannot be reported as these fall in the power of chief manager. The said instances can be reported in monthly concurrent audit report. No discussion is necessary with the chief manager in this respect to ensure sanctity of report. The said instances can be reported in monthly concurrent audit report. However, a discussion is necessary with chief manager in this respect. The said instances cannot be reported as these fall in powers of chief manager and have been adjusted and paid before the end of the month. Option C is correct. That means the said instances can be reported in monthly concurrent audit report. However, a discussion is necessary with the chief manager in this respect. Next, which of the following statements is most appropriate regarding sanction of fresh advances to borrowers in the said in the same industry in a month from congruent auditor's perspective? First option, sending a such a lending lacks diversity and needs to be reported without file. Such a lending increases credit risk for branch and needs immediate attention of higher authorities of the bank. Lending has been made within chief manager's powers. It does not fall in congruent auditor's domain to question wisdom of lending decision conforming to banking norms. Although lending has been made within chief manager's powers, branch should have reported to higher authorities flagging sanction of fresh advances to same industry. Only this aspect should be reported in congruent auditor's report. Option C is correct. That is, lending has been made within chief manager's powers. It does not fall in congruent auditor's domain to question wisdom of lending decision conforming with banking norms. As regards matter of levying of foreclosure charges described in case scenario, what is appropriate course of action for congruent auditor? The matter should be reported even though it would lead to revenue loss for the branch. The matter should not be reported as it is a part of duties of the congruent auditor to safeguard branch revenue interest. The matter should be reported only for its disregard of code without highlighting revenue impact. The matter concerns branch management's decision. It does not fall in purview of a concurrent audit. Option A is correct. The matter should be reported even though it would lead to revenue loss for the branch. Next, test your knowledge question number 1. Your firm has been appointed as central statutory auditors of a nationalized bank. The bank follows financial year as accounting year. Your audit manager informed that the bank has recognized on accrual basis income from dividend on securities and units of mutual funds held by it as at the end of the financial year. The dividend on securities and units of mutual funds were declared after the end of the financial year. Comment. Banks may book income from dividend on shares of corporate bodies on accrual basis, provided a dividend on the shares has been declared by the corporate body in its annual general meeting, and the owner's rights to receive payment is established. This is also in accordance with AS 9 or Ind AS 115. In this case, the dividends have been declared after the financial year end. Therefore, the recognition of income by the bank on accrual basis is not in order. In respect of income from government securities and bonds and debentures of corporate bodies, where interest rates on these instruments are predetermined, income could be booked on accrual basis, provided interest is served regularly and as such is not in arrears. He was further, however, clarified that banks may book income on accrual basis on securities of corporate bodies or public sector undertakings in respect of which the payment of interest and repayment of principal have been guaranteed by the central government or the state government. Next, test your knowledge question number 2. As statutory central auditors of a nationalized bank, what special points are to be borne in mind in the audit of compliance with statutory liquidity ratio requirements, SLR requirements, audit approach and procedure pertaining to CRR and SLR requirements, obtain an understanding of the relevant circulars or instructions of the RBI, particularly regarding composition of items of demand and time liabilities, request the branch auditors to send their weekly trial balance as on Friday, and these are consolidated at the head office. Based on this consolidation, the detailed position is determined for every reporting Friday. The statutory central auditor should request the branch auditors to verify the correctness of the trial balances relevant to the dates selected by him or her. The branch auditors should also be specifically requested to examine the cash balance at the branch on the selected dates. Examine on test basis the consolidations regarding detailed position prepared by the bank with reference to the related returns received from branches. The auditor should examine whether the valuation of securities done by the bank is in accordance with the guidelines prescribed by the RBA. While examining the computation of detail, specifically examine that items have been excluded from liabilities as per RBA guidelines. Some of these items are paid up capital reserve, any credit balance in P&L account of the bank, amount of loan taken from RBI, and amount of refinance taken from Exim Bank, NHB, SIDB, and NABARD. Similarly, specifically examine that the items have been included in the liabilities as per RBI guidelines. Some of these items are net credit balance in branch adjustment accounts, borrowings from abroad by banks in India, reconciliation of nostro accounts. Examine whether the consolidations prepared by the bank include the relevant information in respect of all the branches. It may be noted that even though interest accrues daily, it is recorded in the books only on periodic intervals. Thus, examine whether such interest accrued but not accounted for in books is included in the computation of detail. The auditor at the central level should apply the audit procedures listed above to the overall consolidations prepared for the bank as a whole. When such procedure is followed, the central auditor should adequately describe the same in the report. While reporting on compliance with SLR requirements, the auditor should specify the number of unaudited branches and state that he or she has relied on the returns received from the unaudited branches in forming an opinion. Recently, there has been introduction of automated automated data flow ADF for CRR and SLR reporting, and the auditors should develop necessary audit procedures around this. Next, test your knowledge question number 3. Explain the scope of congruent audit of a bank with reference to the Reserve Bank of India guidelines. Scope of congruent audit. The detailed scope of congruent audit should be clearly and uniformly determined for the bank as a whole by the bank's Central Inspection and Audit Department in consultation with the bank's Audit Committee of the Board of Directors, ACB. In determining the scope, importance should be given to checking high risk transactions having large financial implications as opposed to transactions involving lesser amounts. The detailed scope of concurrent audit may be determined and approved by the ACB. Further, the guidelines issued by RBI cover all the key areas of the activities of the branch, which is under concurrent audit. Most banks have prepared an audit manual for this purpose. Broadly stated, the following areas are covered by these guidelines: scope of concurrent audit in banks, cash, deposits, advances, investments, foreign exchange, housekeeping, other items. Next, test your knowledge question number 4. In the course of audit of Good Samaritan Bank as at 31st March 2023, you observe the following. In a particular account, there was no recovery in the past 18 months. The bank has not applied the NPA norms as well as income recognition norms to the particular account. When queried, the bank management replied that this account was guaranteed by the central government and hence these norms were not applicable. The bank has not invoked the guarantee. Please respond. Would your answer be different if the advance is guaranteed by a state government? Government guaranteed advance. If a government guaranteed advance becomes NPA, then for the purpose of income recognition, interest on such advance should not be taken to income unless interest is realized. However, for the purpose of asset classification, credit facility backed by central government guarantee, though overdue, can be treated as NPA only when the central government repudiates its guarantee when invoked. Since the bank has not invoked the guarantee, the question of repudiation does not arise. Hence, the bank is correct to the extent of not applying the NPA norms for provisioning purpose. But this exemption is not available in respect of the income recognition norms. Hence, the income to the extent not recovered should be reversed. The situation would be different if the advance is guaranteed by state government, because this exception is not applicable for state government guaranteed advances, where advance is to be considered NPA if it remains overdue for more than 90 days. In case the bank has not invoked the central government guarantee, though the amount is overdue for long, the reasoning for the same should be taken and duly reported in LFAR, long form audit report. Next question. The bank's advance portfolio comprised of significant loans against life insurance policies. Write suitable audit program to verify these advances. The audit program to verify advances against life insurance policies is as under. The auditor should inspect the policies and see whether they are assigned to the bank and whether such assignment has been registered with the insurer. The auditor should also examine whether premium has been paid on the policies and whether they are in force. Certificate regarding surrender value obtained from the insurer should be examined. The auditor should particularly see that if such surrender value is subject to payment of certain premium, the amount of such premium has been deducted from the surrender value. Test your knowledge question number 5. Your firm has been appointed as central statutory auditors of a nationalized bank. The bank is a consortium member of cash credit facilities of 50 crores to X Limited. Bank's own share is 10 crores only. During the last 2 quarters, against a debit of 1.75 crores towards interest, the credits in X Limited account are to the tune of 1.25 crores only. Based on the certificate of the lead bank, the bank has classified the account of X Limited as performing. The bank follows financial year as accounting year. Advise your views on the issue which were brought to your notice by your audit manager. The bank is a consortium member of cash credit facilities of 50 crores to X Limited. Bank's own share is 10 crores only. During the last 2 quarters, against a debit of 1.75 crores towards interest, the credits in X Limited's account are to the tune of 1.25 crores only. Sometimes, several banks from a group, the consortium, under the leadership of a lead bank, to make advance to a large customer on same conditions and security with proportionate rights. In such cases, each bank may classify the advance given by it according to its own experience of recovery and other factors. Since in the last 2 quarters, the amount remains outstanding and thus interest amount should be reversed. This is despite the certificate of lead bank to classify that the account as performing. Accordingly, the amount should be shown as non-performing asset. Next, test your knowledge question number 6. You have been appointed as an auditor of LCO Bank, a nationalized bank. LCO Bank also deals in providing credit card facilities to its account holder. The bank is aware of the fact that there should be a strict control over storage and issue of credit cards. How will you evaluate the internal control system in the area of credit card operations of a bank? Internal controls in case of credit card operations. There should be effective screening of applications with reasonable good credit assessments. There should be strict control over storage and issue of cards. There should be a system whereby a merchant confirms the status of the unutilized limit of his credit card holder from the bank before accepting the settlement. In case the amount to be settled exceeds a specified percentage of the total limit of the cardholder. There should be a system of prompt reporting by the merchants of all settlements accepted by them through credit cards. Reimbursement to merchants should be made only after verification of the validity of the merchant's acceptance of cards. All the reimbursement, gross of commission, should be immediately charged to the customer's account. There should be a system to ensure that statements are sent regularly and promptly to the customer. There should be a system to monitor and follow up customers' payments. Payments overdue beyond a reasonable period should be identified and carefully attended to carefully. For defaulting customers, credit should be stopped by informing the merchants through periodic bulletins as early as possible to avoid increased losses. There should be a system of periodical review of credit card holders' accounts. On this basis, the limits of customers may be revised if necessary. The review should also include determination of doubtful amounts and the provisioning in respect thereof. Next, test your knowledge question number 7. You have been appointed as concurrent auditor of a nationalized bank branch. The main business at the branch is dealing in foreign exchange. Suggest the main areas of coverage with regard to foreign exchange transactions of the said branch under concurrent audit. Activities to be covered in case of foreign exchange. Check foreign bills negotiated under letter of credit. Check FCNR and other non-resident accounts whether the debits and credits are permissible under rules. Check whether inward or outward remittance have been properly accounted for. Examine extension and cancellation of forward contracts for purchase and sale of foreign currency. Ensure that they are duly authorized and necessary charges have been recovered. Ensure that balance in nostro accounts in different foreign currencies are within the limits as prescribed by the bank. Ensure that overbought or oversold position maintained in different currencies is reasonable considering the foreign exchange operations. Ensure adherence to the guidelines issued by Reserve Bank of India or head office of the bank about room operations. Dealing room operations. Ensure verification or reconciliation of nostro and vostro account transactions or balances. Next, test your knowledge question number 8. While auditing Fair Bank, you observe that a lump sum amount has been disclosed as contingent liability collectively. You are therefore requested by the management to guide them about the disclosure requirement of contingent liabilities for banks. Kindly guide. Regarding contingent liabilities, the auditor should ensure that there exists a system whereby the non-fund based facilities or additional or ad hoc credit facilities to parties are extended only to their regular constituents, etc. Ascertain whether they are adequate internal controls to ensure that the transactions giving rise to contingent liabilities are executed by only by persons authorized to do so and in accordance with the laid down procedures. Verify in case of LCs for import of goods, the payment to the overseas suppliers is made based on shipping documents and after ensuring that the said documents are in strict conformity with the terms of LCs. Ascertain whether the accounting system of the bank provides for maintenance of adequate records in respect of such obligations and whether the internal controls ensure that contingent liabilities are properly identified and recorded. Test the completeness of the recorded obligations. Review the reasonableness of the year end amount of contingent liabilities in the light of previous experience and knowledge of the current year's activities. Review whether comfort letters issued by the bank has been considered for disclosure of contingent liabilities. Examine whether the bank has given any guarantees in respect of any trade credit, buyer's credit, or seller's credit, and the period of guarantees is coterminous with the period of credit reckoned from the date of shipment. Verify whether bank has extended any non-fund facility or additional or ad hoc credit facilities to other than its regular customers. In such cases, auditors should ensure concurrence of existing bankers of such borrowers and inquire regarding financial position of those customers. Next, test your knowledge. Question number 9. ABC Chartered Accountants have been appointed as concurrent auditors for the branches of Effective Bank Limited for the year 22-23. You are part of the audit team for Agra branch of the bank and have been instructed by your senior to verify the advance of the audit period. You are required to guide your assistant about the areas to be taken care while doing verification during the concurrent audit. Audit approach in case of advances. Advances generally constitute the major parts of the assets of the banks. They are substantial numbers of borrowers to whom variety of advances are granted. The audit of advances requires the major attention from the auditors. The auditor is primarily concerned with obtaining evidence about the following while carrying out audit of advances. Amount included in the balance sheet in respect of advances are outstanding at the date of balance sheet. Advances represents amounts due to the bank. Amount due to the bank are appropriately supported by loan documents. There are no unrecorded advances. The stated basis of valuation of advances is appropriate and properly applied, and recoverability of the advances is recognized in their valuation. Advances are disclosed, classified, and described in accordance with the recognized accounting policies and practices and relevant statutory and regulatory requirements. Appropriate provisions towards advances are made as per RBI norms, accounting standards, and generally accepted accounting practices. In carrying out audit of advances, the auditor is primarily concerned with obtaining evidence about the following: evaluation of internal controls over advances, substantive audit procedures, recoverability of advances. Next, test your knowledge. Question number 9. Question number 10. In the course of audit of Skip Bank Limited, you found that the bank has sold certain of its non-performing assets. Draft the points of audit check that are very relevant to this area of checking. Sale or purchase of NPS. In case of sale or purchase of NPS by bank, the auditor should examine the policy laid down by the board of directors in this regard relating to procedures, valuation, and delegation of powers, including non-performing financial assets that may be purchased or sold. Norms are such purchase or sale, valuation procedures, and accounting policies. Only such NPA has been sold which has remained NPA in the books of the bank for at least 2 years. The assets have been sold or purchased without recourse only, that is, the entire credit risk associated with the non performing asset should be transferred to the purchasing bank. Subsequent to the sale of NPA, the bank does not assume any legal, operational, or any other type of risk relating to the sold of NPA, sold NPAs. The NPA has been sold at cash basis only. Under no circumstances, NPA can be sold to another bank at a contingent price. The entire sale consideration has to be received on upfront basis. The bank has not purchased an NPA, which it had originally sold. In case of sale of an NPA, the auditor should also ensure that on sale of the NPA, the same has been removed from the books of accounts of the selling bank on transfer if sale is at a price below the net book value, that is, book value less provisions held. The shortfall should be debited to the profit and loss account of that year. In case if the sale is for a value higher than the net book value, the excess provision should not be reversed but will be utilized to meet the shortfall or loss on account of sale of other NPA non-performing financial assets. Next, test your knowledge question number 11. Banks, because of certain characteristics, are distinguished from other commercial enterprises and hence it needs special audit considerations. As an auditor of the bank, specify the various peculiarities which may necessitate, necessitate special audit considerations to be taken care by you. Special audit considerations arise in the bank or audit of banks because of the particular nature of risks associated with the transactions undertaken, the scale of banking operations, and the resultant significant exposures which can arise within short period of time, the extensive dependency on IT to process transactions, the effect of the statutory and regulatory requirements, the continuing development of new products and services and banking practices, which may not be matched by the concurrent development of accounting principles and auditing practices. Next, test your understanding question number 12. ABC Bank has sanctioned credit limit of 100 lakhs to Mrs. Walcott Limited on September 1st, 2021. The renewal of the limits was due on 1st September 2022. While doing the statutory branch audit for the year ended 31st March 2023, you find that the renewals has not been done even though 180 days are over. The bank says that the renewal process has been initiated on time and most of the documents are received. The account is operated regularly and is in order. Balance is maintained within drawing power. It also shows a letter from Walcott stating that due to a sudden death of their auditor, a new auditor had to be appointed. Procedure for appointment took some time and the new auditor was doing the audit all over again. The limit was not renewed till 31st March 2023. However, the audited financial statements are received on 10th April 2023 and the renewal letter was issued immediately. Your assistant is insisting that the account must be classified as NPA since the limit was not renewed as on 31st March 2023. What is your opinion? As per the guidelines of RBI, the account should be classified as NPA if renewal is not done in 180 days. However, in the present case, operations in the accounts are excellent. The bank has shown a letter from that company that due to certain reasons, the audited financial statements are delayed. Further, the limit has been renewed before signing the audit report. Thus, even if the sanction was issued after the balance sheet date, it relates to the position as on the balance sheet date. Therefore, it is an adjusting event under AS4 contingencies and events occurring after the balance sheet date. It is also a matter of substance over form. The auditor would consider classifying the account as a standard asset. Next, test your knowledge question number 13. You are auditing a small bank branch with staff strength of the manager, cashier, and three other staffs S1, S2, S3. Among allocation of work for other areas, S1, who is a peon, also opens all the mail and forward it to the concerned person. He does not have a signature book as to the check the so as to check the signatures on important communications. S2 has possession of all bank forms, example checkbooks, demand draft, or pay order books, traveler's checks, foreign currency cards, etc. He maintains a record meticulously, which you have test checked also. However, no one among staff regularly checks that. You are informed that being a small branch with shortage of manpower, it is not possible to always check the work and records. Give your comments. Banks are required to implement and maintain a system of internal controls for mitigating risks, maintain good governance, and to meet the regulatory requirements. Given below are the examples of internal controls that are violated in the given situation. In the instant case, S1, who is a peon, opens all the mail and forwards it to the concerned persons. Further, he does not have a signature book so as to check the signatures on important communications is not in accordance with the implementation and maintenance of general internal control, as the mail should be opened by a responsible officer. Signatures on all the letters and advices received from other branch of the bank or its correspondence should be checked by an officer with the signature book. All bank forms, example, checkbooks, demand drafts, pay order books, traveler's checks, foreign currency cards, etc., should be kept in the possession of an officer, and another responsible officer should verify the issuance and stock of such stationery. In the given case, S2 has possession of all bank forms, example, checkbooks, demand draft, pay order books, traveler checks, foreign currency cards, etc. He maintains a record meticulously, which were also verified on test check basis. Further, contention of bank that being a small branch with shortage of manpower, they are not able to check the work and records on regular basis is not tenable. As such, lapses in internal control pose a risk of fraud. The auditor should report the same in his report accordingly.